Welcome to the rest of my life. I'm Lance Ash, heading to work after a 3-day weekend. Pretty good weekend. I don't have anything planned for this episode. I thought I'd just wing it. Let me start off with the subject of painting, because I thought I had come up with a good, conceptual framing device for creating the compositions from here on out. I'm working, like I said before, I'm working on this, what I call a super series called Rooms, which is supposed to be 128 paintings total, each of which will feature a room as its compositional framework. It's supposed to be a room, but a couple years ago I started this idea of having as a trademark doing a border around the composition on all my paintings. So recently I had the idea, well, why don't you make the border the ceiling, the floor, and the left and right walls, and the composition is centered around the back wall of this room that you're looking into. So for the painting I'm working on right now, I came up with sort of a half-assed composition for it, just based on that, just to test the waters of this. And I started building up the composition, and as happens maybe 50% of the time, immediately after laying the composition down on the canvas, I thought, oh, this is not very good. So I had a lot of second thoughts about it. But I decided to bull ahead. And the thing is, what I'm looking for is looking for a basic composition that I can just do variations on forever, and just turn the paintings out like an assembly line. Just turn them out like a machine, and like the ultimate, come up with the ultimate composition. And another thing, the basic theme that I'm trying to do is figures looking at paintings, figures looking at pictures. Because I've always put paintings within my paintings as a way of turning out more paintings than I have time to do. And also, I don't feel comfortable turning out fully gestural abstraction works, because I feel it's lazy, and I feel that I appreciate the stuff from an aesthetic viewpoint, but as far as craftsmanship is concerned, I feel it's lazy. And see, for me, a well-constructed painting, a fully developed painting, will take a couple of weeks. But to be perfectly honest, I could turn out a gestural abstraction work in less than a day. Oh my God, what is that crossing the road? Is that a skunk? Ooh, bad omen. If one believes in such things. But if you put that kind of work in the composition, then it's okay. More bang for the buck. The other problem I have with the the current painting is, I think the figure's too small. It's this one that I'm working on now is a woman in a room holding a picture in her hand, and she's sort of comparing it to a picture on the wall. And in relation to the overall composition, she's rather small. And I always feel like the paintings I've done that have bigger figures that fill up the picture plane, are better. I feel better about them. I finished one Saturday morning, or was it Friday morning? I finished one and started one this weekend, and the one I finished was a guy. Well, I always start with the titles first. The title was Head Count at Gallery Crypt. So I had a guy standing in the basement of an art gallery, and there are some paintings on the walls in the basement. He's got a clipboard in his hand. And I decided that based on the title, I would put a lot of heads in the picture. So in the border, I just bordered the picture with a bunch of just sort of randomly created heads. And it turned out pretty good, but again, the central figure was rather small. I don't know. It turns out pretty good. And the one I'm doing now will turn out good, because I've built up enough skill over the years that I can develop just about any composition that I start to its ultimate level of development, of completion. I went to the university library this weekend. I turned in the Antonio Saura books that I checked out last time, and checked out some books on Cobra, which was a post-World War II Northern European art movement, and related books. They didn't have a book on Lucebert, which is what I really wanted. They had one listed in the card catalog, but I think it's in there on reserve, which is books that aren't checked out very often go to this other building, and you have to request them. They have to go get them, and it's all this pain in the butt difficulty. But the problem is I like so many different kinds of painting. I think it's so funny that when modern art really got started, there was this mindset, oh, thank God, academicism is over with. We'll never have to deal with that again. And it comes roaring back. And you're able to combine academic styles with gestural abstraction styles. I wish I could completely assimilate the true definitions, the true concepts behind the distinction between gestural abstraction, taquisme, art informel, abstract expressionism, and art brut. And was that the term that Dubuffet used, art brut? I think it was. Because really, they're all so closely related. The thing I like about Cobra is that there's definite figuration there. even if it's very childlike or very gestural, very broken down. Like with people like Gruppe Spur, Gruppe Wir, Geflecht, Herzogstrasse. I like a lot of that stuff. I like the idea behind it, but the work itself is just too meaningless. It's too devoid of any sort of pictorial elements. No figuration there. Oh my God. Everybody has tattoos now. It's very odd. When I was a kid, it was a rarity to see somebody with a tattoo. And when heavy metal artists started getting tattoos, that was the beginning of everybody getting one. I have 3 homemade tattoos. Didn't cost me anything except the cost of a razor blade. I got the idea from, I don't know if you remember, but about, God, how long ago was it? 25 years ago or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe close to 30. They discovered Ötzi the Iceman up in the the Italian Alps. And he had like 60 tattoos on him, and they had been done with a sharpened stone and powdered charcoal. And they were very simple symbols. They all had significance to him. They also had were associated with pain relief. Anyway, so when I read that, I was like, oh, that's a cheap way to do a tattoo. So I decided I would get a piece of charcoal and break it up into powder and get a razor blade and do very simple little symbols, very small things. So I did 3 and turned out pretty good. I used to have, I still have a lot of trouble with my left elbow. So I thought, as sort of a tribute to my ancient forerunners, that's part of the impetus behind getting this type of tattoo. Also, I'm very cheap. I'll do a little tiny X on my left elbow, right where it hurts. And it turned out really well. I did this several years ago. It turned out really, really well. And amazingly, for a little while, the pain in my left elbow went away. Of course, it came back later. And the second one I did was a larger work. It was on my left bicep. I guess that's the best way to put it. Not bicep, but just below the left shoulder, put it that way, on the facing side of the arm. It was supposed to be a box, like a what would you say? Like a 3-dimensional rendering of a box. But it didn't turn out that great. I did it in 2 stages. So I turned it into just sort of an abstract design that I call the Exploding Dandelion Firecracker. It's got like lines shooting out around it. And I did that in 2 stages. When I got out of the hospital from my emergency surgery almost 4 years ago, it really shook me. So as a symbol of my defiance at the negative forces ranged against me and my determination to move forward, I made a tattoo on at the knuckle of my right index finger, and it's a circle with a dot in it. And the circle represents the universe, and the dot represents me. And that's the one I'm really proud of. I made a little tattoo kit with the razor blades and the charcoal and everything. Got it in my desk in my room in case I want to do another one someday. I doubt I will. What I'd like to do is have enough expendable income to get the one on my my left arm redid professionally, turned into something a little more concrete, but I don't know what. Isn't it? I don't know what the people out there think of David Lee Roth's, what is it, a vest tattoo? I don't know what they call it, the official word is. I don't know, man. I think it's very odd that he did that. He is a strange bird, isn't he? Very strange person. It makes you wonder, because on the one hand, he seems to be the type of person that feels like it's incumbent upon him that he has to be this self-created character all the time. But on the other, doing that tattoo, I don't know. It's such a monumental undertaking, and it has nothing to do with I don't know. I just find it very strange. I also find it very strange his intention to establish a residency in Las Vegas and do this act, because that has very little to do with art. Oh my God. Has everything to do with making easy money. And hasn't he got enough money already? I'm not looking forward to going back to work today. On the weekends, I can go into my studio and become totally insulated and totally wrapped up in my own aesthetic bubble. And when I go to work, see, I don't mind doing the work. What I mind is having other people's business intrude upon my consciousness. I don't want to hear other people's music. I don't want to be inundated with other people's chatter and lingo. And just like John Lydon said, people who need people are the stupidest people. I've become such a curmudgeon as I've gotten older. I have a vague memory of someone telling me a long time ago that I would make a good hermit. Red mud guards on a dark, maybe charcoal gray Dodge SUV. Very odd. Oh my God! I posted an instrumental this weekend, but I really screwed it up because I didn't rehearse it properly. So I'm going to have to redo it. My wife and I are rewatching all however many seasons it is of Endeavor, and we watched a really, really bad one today. It's the one where he meets his it's the one where he's undecided about going back to the police force after being falsely accused of murder or something, and he meets up with these rich people, and the dialogue, the writing is so horrible. It's so forced and cliched and bad, and the plot is so unrealistic and stupid. It just shows you that even the best, highest quality shows are still limited by television's requirements. Alright, we're approaching the end of the episode. Oh God, I didn't sleep as much as I should have today. Good dreams though. Cinematic. Alright, I guess that's it. I'll see you later.